Hey everyone, welcome back. If you've been following us on YouTube, you would see that we did a beginner stretch where we were using just our bodies and maybe a strap or a towel or a belt, something you have at home. Today is going to be more of a partner stretch so you can learn how to stretch maybe your spouse. Maybe your spouse can learn how to stretch you or your kids or anyone you live with. So we're going to focus on the lower body today. So I have my awesome, helpful assistant, my husband, Reidar Carlson. And so we're using a table for this. You can do this on the mat, on the floor if you prefer in bed. If you're on the sofa, just be careful. Okay, so I'm going to actually climb onto the table and I'm going to start stretching his hamstring first. So there's a few different ways that you can stretch the hamstring. So right now I'm going to gently hold down, I'm stretching his right leg, and I'm just gently giving a little pressure on the left leg and then coming forward here. And then making sure that my body is in a good position. Now you see my husband has really long legs, probably the length of my entire torso. So I can come here if that's comfortable, or I can use my own body and kind of come into a half kneeling position. Let his leg rest on my shoulder. Take a deep breath. And exhale, coming forward. Is that good there? And just communicate with them. You don't want to be real forceful. You don't want to bounce. But you, as the person stretching, should be in a good, comfortable position. You shouldn't feel like you're straining, holding, tensing, using your body in such a way that it's easy for you and they get a good stretch. And it really helps them to relax into it. Lets the brain relax. They can close their eyes and get a little bit more out of it. And we'll hold it here if they can for about 30 seconds, making sure to cue them to breathe, not hold their breath. They'll get more out of it, and you may find yourself being able to go a little bit more. Okay, now the other thing that you can do here, they can either keep their ankle relaxed, or if they want a little bit of a calf stretch, they can kind of flex at their ankle. We call that dorsiflexion, or they can keep it relaxed. Totally up to them. You may find that some knees may be more bent or more straight. That's okay, depending on their flexibility. So this is the hamstring. You would back off and then do it again about 2 to 4 times. Totally up to you and how much time you guys want to spend on it. So whatever you do on one side, you'll definitely do on the other side. The next one we're going to do is called that piriformis stretch. So right now, his knee is bent. His knee is right over his hip, okay? And then all I'm going to do is I'm stretching his right leg. I have my right arm on the lower part of his leg. And then all I'm doing is gently kind of coming forward using my leg, and my arm is kind of anchored here. And he should feel this in the outer butt hip side. You feel that there? And then now they shouldn't have any pain or pinching. If they do, just kind of come out of it. Maybe just kind of gently rock. Change the ankle, and then gently come forward. They should not feel any torquing in the knee. You don't want to crank and twist that knee. They just want to feel that in the actual hip. Now I can slide his lower leg down. Is that okay there? And I can use more my knee as opposed to my arm to stretch. And again, don't strain yourself. I'm in this half kneeling position, cueing him to breathe. He's able to just relax and get a good stretch. So this is that piriformis. And again, you can back off, kind of shake it out a little bit, and then you repeat 2 to 4 times, and then switch legs. Is that okay so far? Now from here, the next one we're going to do, I'm going to hop off the table, and I'm going to slowly bring his leg down, and now I'm going to step off, and now I'm going to allow him to stretch his inner thigh, maybe a little bit of groin. Now you want to make sure that their hips stay square. So you can tell them put their hand there, or you can gently put your hand on top of theirs. His leg is just rested on my hip bone. And then I'm going to cue him, take a deep breath. And then exhale, I'm going to come out to the side. And again, I'm just using my body here. Okay? And if you don't have a table, you have to get down on the floor, be a little bit lower. I'll show you another way. If their leg is too long for you to hold, we can do a half butterfly stretch. So again, his lower leg is on my thigh, I can give him a little bit more here on the ankle. I can give a little pressure here on the top thigh if he can tolerate that. If not, I can just back off. You just want to communicate. You don't want to hurt the other person. You don't want to move too fast. Just nice and slow and easy. Now let's say you're on the floor and that's too much for you. What you can do is have them go into a figure 4. Yep, and so again, that hip is going to stay down. Let that knee drop naturally, and I'm just going to give a little pressure. Is that okay there? Now you can change your position, which will help change the muscle fibers and the stretch. I can also come over here and then just give a little pressure, making sure that you're not, bending too far forward, and just kind of opening up that hip, groin area. And then the next one that you can do, so we did the hamstring, the piriformis, inner thigh, and groin, stretching their calves. Now, if they have dirty sneakers, you can take the sneakers off. You can do it barefoot or with socks. I'm just going to have them keep the sneakers on for right now. And all I'm going to do is kind of, we call it a neutral position, but I turn the foot in, I turn the foot out, find the center, and then I'm going to take my forearm, kind of reach around and gently pull back. So I have my hand underneath his ankle, and I'm using my forearms to just give gentle pressure here as I stretch, and then getting a good stretch on the calf. Okay? Awesome. And then again, same thing, about 30 seconds, 2 to 4 times, or what you guys have time for. The last one we're going to do, he is going to turn over onto his stomach. Now for the purpose of the video, I'm just going to do his left side so you guys can see. And then there's a couple different ways we can do this. Depending on their flexibility, I am just going to kind of keep my hand on their hip glute area. Just give a gentle pressure here. Stretching, are you okay? Yeah. Stretching the top of the thigh. Now do you feel a thigh stretch in the front? And then just, again, communicate with him. I can use my arm, using my legs. Wherever you feel comfortable, you just don't want to be straining. Okay, so get a good wide base of support. Make sure you're not using your back too much. The other thing we can do, if they have the flexibility for it and you want to get more of a thigh and hip flexor, right? Because that hip flexor is right in front of your iliacus and wraps around to L4, L5. And we want to keep that muscle happy. They can lift their thigh so that their thigh is now on your knee. I'm going to put his lower leg, okay? Yeah. I'm going to put his lower leg on my shoulder, and then, now this one is a pretty intense stretch, so take your time and you're going to lower a little bit. Is that okay there? Now again, his thigh is on my thigh, and if that's okay for him, all I'm going to do is rest his lower leg. I have it locked in my shoulder, and make sure his hips stay squared, and then slowly lower down. And I'm just using my shoulders, my knees are bent. If that's not comfortable, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to show you a different way. I can take my opposite leg. That's not really comfortable for me, but you could use your opposite leg and lower down if that. Now, that's only if they have the flexibility. If their hips are really turning out of it and they're feeling in their low back, don't do it. You can just hang out right here, give a little pressure down. And as long as they're feeling in their top thigh, even in this position, sometimes they'll get a little bit of a hip flexor and then slowly relax. So again, hold it for about 30 seconds or for what's comfortable for them, 2 to 4 times depending on how much time you guys have. And make sure whatever you do to one side, you do to the opposite. So from our family to yours, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.